what went down. I'm Craig, aka Mr. Impact Blog from the TNAW channel. And as you can see, I'm once again joined by the co-host of the Talking Nonsense by Impact Wrestling podcast. It's Jeff.
Hey, that's me. What's up, buddy? I
Not
feel like a time warp. I feel like we've we've done it.
Feels a bit like deja vu all over again.
But it'll be fun either way. I'm excited to talk. Obviously, if you guys watch this as soon as it airs, it's going to be airing on Thursday Eastern Standard Time, and it'll be we're trying to get it closer to the actual episode of Impact, and then far enough away from the podcast, as you mentioned, which we have an episode coming out Sunday. So it'll be really fun to talk about the specifics, since Max and I only talk about nonsense. But if anyone out there and watching us wants to take part in this, please write us, contact us. For this especially, we're looking for people that can either take place on a weekly basis and switch off, or do all three and kind of just talk about Impact, because the show's been really good. It's been really, really good.
I mean, come join me and let's just chat Impact.
Yeah.
So yeah, this week's Impact was stacked. Had a lot of good reviews from different sources, wrestling news companies.
Yeah, that's what really stuck out for me. I really don't, and that's why I enjoy doing this so much as well, is I rarely have, besides Max on when we do our podcast, someone to talk about Impact face to face, and talk about how great or not great it was. So the opinions I only base off of my own, or if I talk to you or Max about something, I'm like, okay, I got a little bit of feedback. I'm not big on going to the sites and looking. But as you said, from 411 Mania or whatever the hell it is to PW Insider, rave reviews for this episode, which I'm happy about, because I like to, we pride ourselves on not being biased, but I really felt after I watched this that it was a wicked good episode, and it seems everyone thought so as well.
Yeah, for sure. If the reach those guys have, and with them promoting Impact, can only be good.
Right. Yeah.
So as I say, stacked card. Let's get straight into it with the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, Moose versus Heath.
So, yeah, I'm gonna let you. Yeah. I know usually I go, but I'm gonna let you go because you probably had more of a transformation than I, especially during this segment or this match.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, I said it before. I'll be the first to admit when I was wrong about something, and I feel like I'm wrong about Heath. I wasn't completely sold when he first came in, but this match, his work rate, yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I never thought I'd say I enjoyed a Heath match.
Right.
Honestly,
it's not. It's not that's just your personal opinion,
yeah.
And I think it was of a lot of people. And I mentioned it on this show before, especially when we previewed Slammiversary and the podcast, as we talked about, who could come or who couldn't, and he was always at the bottom of my list. And now that I start to see his approach to his character, even though kind of the same thing, where's my job, I need a job, I have kids, it just feels different. It feels organic. And I feel bad for all these years of putting him in a box and believing what WWE was presenting, because in this little match, and I'll get into the match itself in just a moment, he just showed, like you said, something that would change your mind like that. You'd be like, oh, this guy is aggressive. This guy has some movement to him. And, he's like EY in a lot of ways. He's a very utility player. He's a utility player, can do a lot of things, but I'm glad they're giving him a chance to do something different. I like where it's leading. As far as the match goes, the only complaint I saw about it when I was looking was that Moose dominated and then won as well. Personally, from my point of view, I liked it, because what it did was Moose dominated early, which means you knew he could beat him, right? If you take it as a literal sense. But then he had to use a low blow during the ref spot to get a win. So it doesn't hurt Heath, who had to come back and almost won had the ref not got knocked out. But it makes Moose a viable champion, at least for them few moments in the beginning. So I thought the booking all around really elevated both of the guys, told a story. I'm not saying it's match of the night yet for me. We'll say that at the end, but I definitely give it a thumbs up.
Yeah, I agree. Thumbs up. With, like I said, with Moose dominating, it put Heath in that underdog role a bit more. So you wanted him to win, and you wanted to overcome all this. So it looked great. I was wrong about the Scott D'Amore signing on the spot, but who knows what happens? Yeah.
I think that's more so the TNA title seems to be an idea of interest. So I think something else is going to happen with Heath in that and how he gets his contract. But talking about this episode, I do want to say that we would do stupid not to say Madison and Josh together. One, kudos, but two, they really pushed the feeling that this was if this guy does not win, he doesn't have a job.
Right.
Well, TNA management or Impact management, excuse me, said, "Hey, you know what? He doesn't work here, but let's pay for a Tron video and some music." That's the only part my negative, but it's a thumbs up though.
Yeah.
Right? Is that weird?
So, and it's an interesting choice.
Yeah.
So then, speaking of the TNA World Title, EC3 had another little promo video where he's going after Moose and the TNA World Title so he can burn down the legacy of the TNA World Title.
Yeah.
He loved that.
It's funny because I feel like anytime we talk about EC3, obviously we talk 5 times as long as the promo was.
Yeah.
Because in such little time, he put so much meaning behind those promos. And they're cryptic, but they're not, and they're fun, but they're serious. He's just so good at what he does, and I'm glad we get to see this EC3 back. I don't want to get too far ahead yet again. But I do hope he stays. I hope he's not burning down the past, so his future is elsewhere. But in this moment, just enjoying what he does. I as many thumbs as I have, toe thumbs, everything. He's just great. He's great.
Agreed. Thumbs up. EC3.
Yeah.
It's great promo. His new character. His development, and Moose's development as well from when he first started. When there was that little feud between them. This next match, with the changes that happened, should be even better than their first.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And I always say the same thing. When two guys who are, I mean, it happens other ways as well. But when two guys are good friends and you have more accessibility, you get to talk for how I can text you back and forth. Not saying that you don't do that with everyone else, but I know from friends who have experience in wrestling that it's easier to talk to a tag team partner or someone you know, because then you could put something together and put more interest in it and be honest about it. And so they have that factor. They have the factor that they both have new, improved characters and kind of have found themselves. And then obviously they're building a lot of heat, which I don't really think their matches prior had a lot of anger to them. But I'm really excited for the build for this. And I'm surprised EC3 doesn't get as much credit as I thought in the power rankings. I won't say if he landed on it or not, but he definitely, those little moments, I know they're little, they're very impactful, pun intended, I guess. You know?
Yeah. Surprising for sure. Then we move on to the sit-down interview in the ring with the tag team champions, the Motor City Machine Guns, with Jimmy Jacobs.
Yeah, man. How did you feel about it? Are you glad that they're doing in-ring?
Yeah, I like the in-ring interviews when it calls for it. And with the Machine Guns coming back, I think that was the right time to do it.
Right.
They can talk about where they've been and why. Obviously, they talked about what brought them back to Impact. Jimmy Jacobs is great because he asks a question, but then let the wrestlers talk and not try and get himself over.
That's true.
So,
I don't say he writes it, but you know, I've always been more into. That's hard to say because if a storyline's great, I'm more into a storyline than a match but a match that's really good is very powerful, to me at least. But even though it was a talking segment after talking segment, I'm very happy to see them take it to the ring, have someone who is now established as backstage announcer, which we haven't had in a while. Yes, we have all the ladies and they do great, but those are usually, they're in that moment. They're in that set. They're not expanding to different scenes. So to have Jimmy in the ring, who, as you said, is just a character on his own, and it lets people talk and is getting the wrestlers over, I think it was necessary, because you don't want to shotgun these machine guns, even though they won the titles on their first Impact and ever. But if you give us too much of them or use all their dates, I don't know the situation with the contract. I like the feeding us a little bit, just giving us a little bit. Then they have their matches and it's a big deal. I hope they don't lose at Emergence. But anytime the North talks, and then you got Alex Shelley finally being able to talk after all these years, I feel like he's always been kind of held down in that department. But they're all rock stars. They're awesome together. The battle ensues, so we're going to get more build-up, and I'm excited for that as well.
Right, yeah. Ethan Page cut a fire promo. Perfect, and it makes you excited for the match coming up at Emergence.
It does. I love the line about the Rick Martel's closet. He still has a closet. Are you familiar with Rick Martel?
Yeah.
Model.
Yeah. Can't wait for that match at Emergence. Can't see the North winning, but who knows? So then, Deonna Purrazzo.
Thumbs up.
Oh yeah.
Thumbs up.
Then the Knockouts champion Deonna Purrazzo interrupted in her personal locker room by the new assignee to Impact Wrestling, Kimberly. And obviously, Kimberly wanted to take up Jordynne Grace to help Deonna to get a title shot of her own. I liked it.
I like the premise. It's very simple. They do it often, kind of when Madison and Kiera were trying to help Taya or something and make the deals, Rosemary as well. I'm always a fan of that because I think that's what would happen in real life. So it's not far out of the realm of reality that you ask someone in return to do something. I like the potential of Kimberly, who just signed long term, to be her, not lackey, but that person I was saying Jordynne Grace could be, that kind of helper or whatever. Because Kimberly's a badass. We saw that last week. I think they're going to keep pushing her that way. I'm very happy she got time. And I'm also happy that the scenes are growing. The world, the universe Impact is in is growing. As I mentioned, in the ring talking. Now, a couple weeks in a row, they featured the champions having their own dressing room. Just really little things that take us out of just the same recaps and everything else. So I give it a thumbs up, short and sweet, and it pushes both of their characters along.
Yeah, it's a thumbs up. I mean, obviously, I don't know if I mentioned it last week, but I'm not too familiar with Kimberly. Okay. I know of her. I know.
Right.
I saw her at an independent show over here a while back.
Oh, nice.
So I knew a little bit about her.
But nothing much.
No. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Built up a feud between those two. I enjoyed it. Get an eventual feud between those two.
Yeah.
I'm fine. The tag team partnership.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Yeah, same here. They're bringing the characters into each other, into the storylines, and I dig that because it gives more matchups. That's also why I like Kylie Rae being in Wrestle House. It extends the number one contendership for a while. So they're building everybody right. The thing I will say about Kimberly, and as I mentioned before, I'm familiar with her. Great worker. She was Chikara heavyweight champion, so she is used to intergender as well, which I don't think we'll see too much more on Impact, honestly. But I think that's kind of good for her because instead of playing the underdog that we thought Tessa would be, and that's what normally we see Kimberly as, but she's a tough underdog. And I like the ability just to see that we're going to get the ability just to see her as Kimberly and who she becomes or what she wants to become. Because they've presented her in such a, oh, here's Kimberly. Kimberly. But then she goes around the ring, does her little movements, and that's it. There's no entrance for her. There's no, put together package and character yet. I'm really excited to see where this goes, but thumbs up, and you'll be pleasantly surprised if you see more of her.
I've been surprised from her debut after Rebellion. Like, really, it's definitely something there that can progress to being a champion.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Okay, good. I like seeing the perspective of you, because obviously you're younger than I. So I've seen since day one. You've seen since 2012. 12. So
October 2012. Yeah.
Yeah, but that changes your liking of what you like in wrestling. So to me, have already established that, and to say, oh, I like Kimberly, you've seen her for now. To you to see her and have that same point of view is pretty cool. I dig that kind of stuff. Yeah, cool. Wrestling's fun.
So then, I think we'll merge them both. Wrestle House. The second week, not as much this time, but still good.
Yeah,
so
which I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
I think they oversaturated our palates last time. This time, just a little bit. I mean, what do you say? Obviously, I love this color scheme and the look of it. Obviously, I love the lightning bolts. There's a lot of things that. If you were to take this for not knowing us, we seem I seem pretty full of it, but yeah, not like that in real life. Don't worry. Very low self-esteem. Just okay. So anyway, Wrestle House, good shit. We both can agree on that. Now here's where because you loved it last week. I liked it, but thought it was a little too much. Is there something that was too much for you this week, or do you think it was right on? I'm going to ask you because I have a different.
Honestly, no, I think it was pretty spot on again. I'm a big fan of things that people deem to be crap. Like, I loved things like, I'm trying to think of an example.
Do you like Mickey James train? Did he get by a train? Did he get by a train?
Stretching it slightly, but I mean, now the stuff with I can't think of anything, but the stuff like from 2013-14 from TNA.
Okay.
Most people hated that stuff. I liked it, and even 2012. That's what made me a fan. Things like seeing Eric Bischoff trying to shave Mick Foley's hair.
Okay.
I love that shit. It was,
okay.
It's stupid, but I loved it. So I like comedy. I do.
If done right, I do too.
Yeah, I think again for me, Lish shined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you say? It's hard to judge it because you can't judge it against anything else. It's its own thing, and it is comedy. It's sometimes cheesy comedy, which I think is the point. Sometimes it's a spot-on comedy. Sometimes they're joking themselves, and sometimes there's a miss or two. I love Swinger, but he's coming off real creepy. Real creepy. But other than that, I'm with you, man. I just think anytime you could take us out of the ring and yet still have us in a ring, despite what you might say about those matches, it's good. And I'd be remiss to say, let's say that the Rosemary and Kylie match.
Yeah.
It's going to be a show, man. It's the time where the Rosemary and Kylie match was surprisingly good, and not because of who they were, but just because of the quality of matches we were kind of getting for comedy. Yeah, she got her nose, but I don't know if you're familiar with like Titans Go or something, like very that style of comedy, and very silly, but yet entertaining. And I feel like Rosemary and Kylie have a great chemistry that I want to see in the real ring. But everything is improved. The timing, it was shorter. It got to the point, had some great development and some good matches. Thumbs up, man. I know people don't like this for different reasons, and it's not wrestling, but very little is wrestling anymore. And yeah, I miss some of it, but sometimes you just gotta embrace it and say, this is fucking, or excuse me, this is funny. Like, this is fun. Like, I'm having fun watching this.
Agreed. I know a lot of people were complaining in the Twitch chat about it, but what can you do? Can't please everyone.
You can't. And a lot of those, you got to remember, the Twitch people are ones that, especially now, aren't ones that have watched it for a long time, in a long time. So they're actually just coming back around. So their bias is already going to be there. Not saying their opinion is invalid, but if you sit back and enjoy wrestling, you'll like this.
Yeah, just take it for what it is. Don't overthink it. Just take it for what it is.
That's the key.
So then, go to the parking lot, car park as I call it, with Gaz and Anderson on the way to their car, and see a beer koozies, empty beer cans around.
Yeah.
And of course, the sheriffs come in because they're just randomly sheriffs around at a wrestling event.
With T-shirts that say sheriff.
But wearing a mask. That's very important. Wearing a mask.
Yeah. Anyway. Look, the way it was choreographed, and this is for me being liking editing, but also, storytelling, writing scripts and stuff. Movement is harder than you would think it is.
Yeah.
The placement, whoever directed that scene, fantastic job. No matter what I say next about the thing. There's just everyone, sometimes in wrestling, you see everyone bunched together or some person coming from the camera and swing around. The movement was very well choreographed. And I know that sounds something very simple, but that's something to appreciate, at least from my point of view. With that being said, I thought it did a good job of doing something with the Good Brothers so they feel important. It felt very outsiders-ish, or big guys that came to the company, which they are. And there was like a nice little ploy to get Machine Gun alone. I loved Doc Gallows' reaction to accidentally elbowing the guy. Just really good stuff, man. I got to give it a thumbs up. Besides obviously the sheriff there, because I guess they knew Impact was coming. But yeah, I liked it. And the weird thing I guess you can harp on is that Luke or Doc got to call Carl afterwards, so obviously he was getting out of jail.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, it pushed their storyline together, which I'm interested to see as well. I won't get in my conspiracy theories, but we'll talk about that off screen. But how did you like it besides the sheriff, or?
Yeah, even the sheriff part I enjoyed. It's a thumbs up. Gaz and Anderson, even though they've only had one match, those being on screen, huge lift to Impact, and everything they do is pure gold. I can't think of a bad thing to say about the things they've done since they've arrived. There's only been a few things, but yeah, in Impact, obviously. Yeah. An Impact.
Yeah. Not the worst pay-per-view ever. We'll talk about that. Yeah, no, you're right, man, because these little things feel, like I said, important from just two guys getting to their car and seeing their beer cans out of it. Just silly. Silly stuff, but because it's them and they have that stature, I think, and that presence, it works. And you got to do something different. You're Ace and Madman. Yeah, Madman.
That was weird. Technical difference. We're used to it by now. But yeah, no, it's nice that they're thinking outside the box. I'll sum that up because Could you have Good Brothers out there every week and get them over? Sure. Could you have them backstage and talking? Sure. But could you do something that continues them in an important storyline without really doing much? They're getting their money's worth out of them, for sure. Do you know what it trended this week? I don't even... Was it 2?
I wasn't really checking. I said
Yeah.
I know it's trending in the US last week. I'm not sure about over here.
Sorry, I had to fix my audio. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of timing. That's right.
You watch it live as it airs, but yeah.
Yeah, I saw it at 4 at one point, but someone please write on this, give us a comment of what it ended up trending at. Yeah, so to wrap that up though, it's nice to see management or creative taking a different approach. It's good to see the director and choreographer or video choreography doing it right. My brain isn't working today. It's just good to see, even though it's so simple and someone that's not an Impact fan would laugh at us, but it's so cool just to see the little things done right. And they're doing a great job with the Good Brothers.
Yeah, for sure. I think I love the Good Brothers. They're just I'm so happy they're an Impact.
Yeah.
And if they can convince AJ to come back, even better.
You got a lot to talk about in the podcast. I know that.
Yeah.
But I wanted to mention, I'm glad that they're in a feud with Ace and Madman, and it was just like beer cans because it was the Rascals. They're hotboxing their car.
Oh dear. Little inside joke there.
Yeah, sorry. I just want to be clear. If there's anyone from the States, hotboxing means something different. There is what I picked up on.
Yeah. Very different. But moving on, had the world title open challenge accepted by Sami Callihan. He was attacked by RVD before the match, but still carried on.
Brother, I feel like a homer and I feel bad, but have we started this show before Slammiversary, you would have saw a lot of middle and down. Thumbs up. And once again, they worked in another character into the show that had nothing to do with the match. Love the idea of Sam, because Sammy's entrance is one of the best. And I mean in the world. That shit is dope.
Yeah.
And powerful. So when the lights are blinking, you're excited, and then you see RVD's silhouette, and then they attack him, and on top of that, you're already thinking, oh wow, Sammy versus Eddie. Dope. Like these guys, just so much that they're doing right. And, Eddie and Sammy's feud in characters now are a clear-cut, tale of what Impact Management has done in the 3 years. Not only are they more interesting than I have ever had interest in them, and I love them both, but their entrances are there, their look is there, their development has been there since the Bat incident. Kudos to Impact, kudos to both of them. They're great guys, and great talent. But yeah, I love the RVD thing. I love Katie coming out and dancing on over Sammy. I love Sammy stumbling to the ring, and because he's still got to be Sammy and tough in a pit bull,
Yeah.
and I think that. But it also made him not look weak by being attacked before. And it was a good, solid match. The only thing that would get me to go a little bit that way is the commentary team, which I obviously just said they're great and whatever, didn't really mention that they were attacked before the match. Like, literally, right there. But during the match, it would have been nice if they mentioned that. But other than that, that's nitpicking. Thumbs up.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, yes, it's thumbs up because this Eddie character that we're now getting is a direct result of what happened with the baseball bat. Yeah, he's changed it, developed it a little bit, but without that moment, we maybe wouldn't have this Eddie Edwards, and maybe he wouldn't be world champion. So yeah, it was a complete mistake and horrible accident, but maybe things could be a lot different if that didn't happen.
Yeah, I think Eddie even said in an interview that things he would not change a thing when it came to the bat because it changed him in a lot of ways. And one of those ways is, I don't know if it was impact management or it was Eddie or who in creative created it, but the slow destruction of Eddie Edwards of what we knew and the psychotic Eddie that we know now, coupled with, you know, how he got there, it's just very reminiscent. And I know that was the point, and they worked Raven and Dreamer into the feud, but they are the Raven and Dreamer of Impact. That feud, that's what they are. So.
Yes. Yeah. Can't say anything better.
Hey, thanks.
Exactly what it is.
I have my moments.
So then, just a very, very, very short segment with Hernandez asking Reno Scum for help to get his money back from Rhino. Liked it. Good enough what it was.
Yeah,
Still
whatever.
hoping to see a OG's reunion, but who knows? Thumbs
I
up.
want an LAX reunion because they get the name back.
Yes.
And Conan could come with them. Email. I know Diamante is elsewhere, but I like the group that just was. So it's hard, but I do like the OGs. They're obviously one of my favorites. I love the look to Hernandez. They really found something to do with him, even though let me rephrase that. Hernandez wasn't in the company. It's not like he's been here since after the OGs ended, besides that TNA show, right? That's about when he. And he wasn't really. He's not he's not a young dude. It's not like they need to figure out something to do with him, but they're choosing. And what that tells me also is they have something more planned, or they just think it's another little good segment to keep you interested for next week. Because I really do give a shit about Hernandez. And I've always loved him as OG's Hernandez or LAX Hernandez. Not so much Me Gusta or no Hernandez. So it's really cool to appreciate him. He's got the cool mustache and Conan look going on with the bandana and the flannel. I dig it, man. It continues that storyline, gives Reno Scum something to do as well, and continue their story of being mercenaries or whatever they are. Cool segment. You know, they would have needed to do.
Yeah, thumbs up. I mean, I liked Hernandez. I didn't see the LAX Hernandez.
That's what I was going to ask you.
It was Chavo and Hernandez. That's the
Oh,
first
so-
team
So that's when
saw.
you found him.
Yeah, and
Oh, yeah.
the little feuds with Bad Influence and Dirty Heels. Loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Did they have a name? No, just Guerrero and Hernandez, right?
Yeah, it's Chavo Hernandez. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you got to skip the Supermex singles competitor, right? You didn't get to see it. Okay. And then you got to see.
Yeah.
Right. And then you got to see Anarchia.
No, I missed him. Just
You missed it.
I
That was
missed it.
before
Just
Chavo?
yeah.
Before Chavo. You're right. After Homicide Love, yeah. Well, we're talking a lot about this, but either way, I did want to know what Hernandez you became familiar with first, so that explains it. You should go back and watch the LAX stuff, the Impact Plus app, and you have it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Always.
go back since one. Maybe that's what we'll do. We'll do a new show. We watch it. We'll be the first ones on watching old shows together.
Yeah. A retro what went down.
There you go.
Then
I was gonna say, you know, you like our retro stuff.
So then the main event match, but not the main event segment, we'll get to that. Chris Bay and Rohit Raju losing to TJP and Falaba.
Yeah, man. Good match. Good to see Rohit doing something. He's Lackey having new music, which was a banger. I hope he puts rap over it, goes single completely. Because I think that's
theme.
Swag.
Yeah.
And I think he really could be, and yes, obviously the comparison because he's Indian, but Sanjay Dutt 2.0, where, when Sanjay came in, the first thing they give him is the guru. Well, when he finally got a gimmick, was the guru. Oh, he's Indian. Haha. Okay, whatever. not haha, but you know what I mean, like whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing with Rohit. Even though the Desi Hit Squad had a lot of potential in my eyes because they had a more swag to them, and Gama's is great, but once again, very just Indian guy. To let him be himself, or not Hakeem Zayn, but Rohit Raju, but yes, he's also Indian, is a nice change for him because he has a lot of swagger. He has a lot of talent. He's good on the mic. Um, I hope this is his chance to shine. And if that means being a lackey for Bay first, then so be it. I really like TJP getting back um, into the title picture. I don't know if we say that because it's not really X Division. We'll say that at least.
Yeah.
He's getting X Division via his tag team match with his partner. But Vala showed a lot. It was a good outing for everybody, you know, and it was nice to feature something mid card as the main event. Nice change of pace. But what do you have different thoughts? Are you?
Yeah. Maybe I was missing something in that match, but it felt like there was something missing for me. I don't know what, but I like. Maybe I missed something, but for me,
it's a solid match. The match itself is a good. It wasn't gonna, turn your head one way or another. For me, what I appreciate about it was something different being in the main event, continuing with storyline. But obviously, there's not much heat there yet. It felt like a random match because there was no titles up for. There's no goal, or what is that? No prize for winning. There's, you know what I mean? There's no rhyme or reason. There's no real heat there. So maybe that's what you kind of have more, liking to, which I do too. But if you take it for what it was was cool to see them guys all get a shine. Now, do you just not like those guys? Is that something?
No, that's the thing. I'm high on all of them. I think.
Okay.
Rohit, when he first got into the world title number contender tournament, like a promo he cut was insane.
Yeah.
Then his momentum just slipped off. Yeah, he beat Hernandez or someone along those lines.
He lost to Hernandez, yeah.
Yeah, but it started to dip for him, and then obviously Chris Bay, greatest ex champion so far. Been enjoying the stuff he's been doing. TJP and Fowler, obviously Fowler Bar hasn't had much luck in terms of tag team partners, but I think this is the start of something better and bigger for him. Finally, yeah. And TJP, I want to see TJP as X Division champion because we only had Manic as X champion. I want to see. Yeah,
I agree with so. Well, we'll get back to why you did or didn't like it, but or what your rating is. I think if it was not those four guys for me and it was just other four random storyline, like unfortunately another, same tag team match we always see, it would be here. But for those reasons, I feel that I was going to say Hakeem, Jesus Christ. Rohit is that next version, and Chris Bay is a great champ. So everything you're saying is correct. And any time for me that I get TJP on my screen, I'm happy. Because, yes, I think they're pushing him towards that X Division, which would be a nice little subplot for him and a nice challenger for Bay. So obviously he wouldn't win it. But I would be excited if it starts and plants the seeds of a TJP championship run, because he's cocky in real life and whatever it may be, but his matches, he backs it up. He backs it up, and any match we could get, especially with an X Division wrestler in him, it's good. It's going to be legit, and he's proven that since that he doesn't take days off in the ring, and I'm excited for what comes. But getting back to it, what would you rate it then? Are you?
I can't go middle, so it's almost there.
Middle? Oh, you mean you're
almost
not
there? No, it's almost there at the top, very nearly.
Okay.
If something,
So
if what I
more.
thought was missing would have happened, I don't know what I was expecting, but it would have been a thumbs up. It would have pushed it over the edge for me. But
At the same time, like I like Fallah and TJ together, but match wise, all those guys can go in their own rights as singles. But working with the guys, even though Fallah and TJ work together for a while now, it hasn't gelled maybe as much as it could, and maybe that's part of the disconnect there. I don't know.
yeah,
Trying to find a reason. I can go
it, yeah.
back and watch and talk about it next week as well. But, so overall, though, what was your favorite segment, match, whatever of the night?
Well, there's one more thing.
Oh, was there?
Rich
Right.
Swann announced his retirement. Well, retirement. Don't know
Well, you know what?
shit, but
I'm going to use that as a segue and say that's my favorite segment of the night.
yeah,
And I could go on and on about how different I think Rich Swann can be as a character now, which I didn't think was possible. I always say his promos aren't groundbreaking, but they feed his character and he does what he does. But we don't really see that serious. I like the OVD stuff he did with Sammy when they're contemplating there.
mm-hmm.
But he's always been given to us as happy, dancy guy for the most part, and then kills it in the ring, which all for it.
Yeah.
But for him to go out there and acapella essentially deliver that kind of promo, was it one that would go down in history? No. But will it go down in maybe Impact history? It's possible.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
another people that we haven't seen in a very long time, if at all, with Impact Wrestling. TNA, NWA, I don't think we've seen it. And maybe we have, maybe I'm missing something, but that just shows how much better this one was. He delivered it wonderfully. I kept waiting. I was like, oh, he's just going to rip off his boot and he's fine. But then I was like, oh, no, he's really retiring. Then I'm like, is he really retiring? No, they wouldn't do that. And then I'm waiting for a Willie turn. And then I'm waiting for, a Rich turn on Willie. But then at the end, it's just EY being a nut job. Brilliant. And had not those people been ringside, I don't think it would have gave me the same feeling. Had Rich not delivered that in front of no audience, it might not have got that feeling on me. And then to get everybody doing their part, coming together, and then Kimberly chasing after after he walks. Just every little thing of that I could dissect and say, what a good fucking job of putting a thing together. Like,
Yes.
it was good. It was an A+ segment for me. My favorite thing of the night. Way thumbs up. And it's a window into what we're going to see in the future of Impact. More of this kind of stuff, I think.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I agree in the sense that if it had stayed in empty arena and no one came out, probably wouldn't have had the same feels.
Yep.
Needed a crowd or someone there to react to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that for a minute, like when EY attacked Rich, I was furious at EY. It felt real to me. Like it gave me those feels again.
Let's dissect this. We've got a little time up. But why? What was it more of a because you believe the segment would have been nice, him just walking off and everyone clapping? Or is it because you thought he was really going to injure him? I doubt it was that. Or do you think it was just like that ruined the moment and shocked you because you were expecting everything else?
I think it's because Rich made you believe that he was devastated that he had to retire this early, and that if he didn't, he'd risk his future.
Right.
And then to have everyone come out and applaud Rich, and it wasn't like the whole "thank you, Taker" thing. It was legit, and the roster felt emotional, and that Rich had to retire because they it's different.
It was a team effort, yeah. And you know, we've talked about this before. When you blur those lines, now obviously we're going to go in it with automatically assuming it's a work, which obviously it is.
Yeah, it has to be.
Who knows, actually, right? But because I have to say that, that's the point of why this was so good. Even if you know, or in the know, and you know wrestling is fake, and you read all the whatever, it doesn't prepare you for when someone hits something right on the head. And that was a beautiful execution from every person. And I agree with you. I think, and I just mentioned it, I think it was better there was no paid crowd or non-paid crowd. I like it being the wrestlers just being out there and being that soundboard to reflect off of for him. It worked. And it did its part. Is that your favorite segment of the night?
Yeah. Okay. By a mile. Everything was great, but the fact that that's gone so high up on my moments of the night of the week.
Right.
That it's
I'm with you.
But how well it was delivered and everything about that. Everything about it. EY feeling like the world class maniac when I don't know which is worse, when he obviously beat Rich up with his own crutch or choked out Chris Melendez with his own prosthetic leg.
Right. I like him choking out Melendez a little bit more for a different reason, though.
Yeah.
What I was going to say, though, was to wrap this up, where do you think it goes? I know that's future, but where do you think it goes from?
I feel like it's leading to Bound for Glory.
Rich versus EY.
Yeah, Bound for Glory. Rich stays off for a while. We've got a while to go back to Bound for Glory yet. We've got time to sell it at home and pretend, or not pretend, but sell it.
I would love a blood feud sold with them too, but you don't think Eddie and EY has, or is that too far?
I think that's emergence.
Okay.
I think that's emergence. I feel like it has to be Rich versus EY Bound for Glory. There's more time to build to that, and it's
I like that.
Yeah, it's more of a story than Eddie and EY.
Yeah.
The whole reason Eddie's pissed at EY is because of what he did to Rich. So
right. So many layers in the world of Impact. I want to get obviously. It was fun. I'm glad we this. We finally were on the same frequency, which is nice. But hopefully we remember everything we were supposed to talk about right now. So obviously stay tuned right after this because it's going to keep going. And our power rankings for this week will be announced. It's the first time that we have our power ranking committee. So everybody you see on the screen, and you could be part of it as well, voted on the top 10 for this week, last week, and so on. Just comment under this, reach out to Mr. Impact Blog or to mine, whatever the hell it is, Ready to Believe You, or our TNAIW podcast Twitter account, and we'll get you aboard. Every vote matters, so it's a little more simple than what we used to do, but this week, or with this version, you just send us your top 10, and that's it, and you get your name at the end of the show. So pretty fun. So look at that, see if you agree with it. If you don't, make sure you join. As I said before, Sunday, we're back on for the podcast, and we have a shit ton to talk about. So I'm sure you have a bunch of good topics for us.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and then we have a contest coming up. So we mentioned it before. I'm going to mention it again without giving too much away. You're going to see a new show pop up from us in the middle of August. And it'll give you a little more insight, but it's an unboxing show. Ooh. And of wrestling stuff. It's called This Old Wrestling Shit. And the first one will be me, and I'll be, I won't say what I'm doing, but it's a really throwback item from Impact and TNA history. But we'll be doing something with that where you will be receiving, if you participate, the winners each month will win a crate of their own Impact randomness. Ooh, what could be in it? And you also get a chance to take part in some other in that show and take your reaction, and we'll air it. But there's a lot of cool things with it. We won't get too far into it. I'm just really excited, but we'll talk more about it next week. But that's all I got. So, Craig, you got anything else?
No, just stay tuned to our social medias for everything we have coming up. We'll try and put a thread up after Impact every week so you can give us your power rankings.
Yep.
And at the end, we'll see some tweets from our followers with their thoughts on the show. So
Right, new segment.
keep an eye from that. And apart from that, obviously do the thing, subscribe here, drop us a comment if you disagree with us or agree with us.
Yeah.
You know, find us at TNAW Podcast. Find us. Me and Jeff are around on that page somewhere, so you can find us easily enough. We'll be around.
We're around.
Apart from that, yeah, don't forget to check out Impact if you haven't already. And stay safe, everyone. See you next week.
Thank you guys. It was fun.